what are your kind of early impressions with it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely really, really love it. And I can sort of sympathize with both ends of the sort of spectrum of reviews. I think it definitely, I definitely don't like it as much as I thought I would. I think it's that it does some things not too well. I think it doesn't give you enough sort of permanent progression, I don't think, to sort of make it really, really enticing to go for another run through straight away. And I'm having some troubles with how fiddly it is as well. I feel, especially with the traversal, I think the platforming in particular, I'm constantly falling off the edge of things, and it's really fiddly to jump onto things. It feels like when you like land on a platform, she like bounces and she'll just bounce off the edge. And so there are definitely some gripes I have with it, but it plays really, really well. The story has completely that's the one thing that's really sort of surprised me, is how great the story is. The performance of the main character is really good. Like, picking up her audio logs is such a cool sort of idea, and finding all the different corpses of herself, and it's very mysterious and very intriguing. And that's the main thing that's really wanting me to try and push through and get sort of further in, because I actually do find the story and the way it's told really, really interesting. But yeah, I think it's really great. And I think the further I get, because I still am yet to beat the first boss, I nearly got him on my last try. So hopefully the next time I get in there, he'll be mine. But yeah, I think it definitely could be done a bit better in the things it gives you in each run. There's not a lot of, I find myself quite confused as to what is permanent, what's not, what certain things do. And I don't really get that feeling that every time I die, the next time I go in, I'm going to be stronger and I'm going to have a better chance, which for me is quite an important part of these kind of games. So, but yeah, other than that, I'm really enjoying it. And I think as I get further, I'll enjoy it even more as well.
Yeah, no, I was just going to start echoing the same things you're saying, where, yeah, I'm having the same kind of experience. I'm really liking the story. It's super intriguing, mysterious. I want to know more. I love the atmosphere. I really love the obvious inspiration. So you have like the alien stuff from the alien, universe, the alien movies rather. So you have a lot of that influence here. You have a little bit of, and it's been echoed before or talked about before, but like Control, with how you kind of move around, and the speed, although the speed is way faster than something like Control. The speed in the gameplay can kind of hurt it a bit, where, like you said, you're kind of moving too fast when you're platforming, and I've fallen off stuff many times, and kind of not been as pinpoint as I would like to be. But the gunplay is really, really, really fun. It is very difficult, so that's something I'm experiencing now, where it's pretty difficult. I would love some kind of options there. There's a lot of the internet is talking about that as well. And if not difficulty options, which I understand, the very least, being a bit more friendly with the save aspect of it. Or at least letting me know when I'm really saving something and what's transferring over, like you're talking about too. Even when I'm picking up little doodads, I don't know what the hell they do. For a while, it took me way too long to figure out, the green stuff gives you health, but it felt like only sometimes it would give you health, or not all the way give you health. And yeah, it was a lot of that. But I'm okay with that, with me trying to taking the time to learn the world. Like I'm okay with those hurdles there. But I would have liked stuff maybe explained a little bit better. I know there's a lot they're juggling at the same time, but at the point where I'm not so frustrated where I'm going to stop playing it for sure. But with them talking about maybe, updating the game and adding some kind of save feature that's a bit more friendly, if they start to do that, I might put this on hold for a bit and jump back in at a later time, because I don't want to get so burnt out where I'm not liking the game, because I'm really positive on it and I want to keep that going. So I want to give them the time to maybe add those things, which would really appeal to me, because I'm such a baby when it comes to difficulty. I'd love for them to add that. I can jump in, have more fun. But at the point right now, I'm not burnt out. Like, I'm still, when I die, I'm still having fun jumping back in. I think I experienced that same first boss. Is it like the triangle dude with the 3 arms? Did you experience that boss?
Yeah.
I started playing with or fighting him, and for the beginning of it, his health bar is starting to go down. I'm like, okay, I feel pretty good. And then I drain that, and then he's still alive. And I look closer, and there's like 3 tiers to that level. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to beat him ever in my life. Okay. So, and I died and then had to restart. But yeah, I'm having the same kind of experience you are. I'm really interested in digging it. They're just little tiny bits I would love to see adjusted. But how do you feel about them modifying the save thing like the internet is talking about right now?
I actually don't think that is necessary, and I actually think it would just ruin the kind of main structure of the game. I think the main problem is more to do with there's not enough that carries over on each run. So there's not enough because I mean, if you were to play a game like Hades, if you were to die, you wouldn't mind because you know that you're going to come back stronger next time. But I just don't think there's enough of that in Returnal. There's not enough of these permanent upgrades, or it's not like every single kill is making you stronger, so that if you die next time you'll be stronger. So it doesn't matter if you die. I think it doesn't need saves just because once you do something main, like a main objective, it will save that. It will track that. Like for example, when you break the barrier, or even when you get to the boss, then every time you die, your objective is now kill that boss, and you'll be able to get to him, relatively easily, as long as you can get past, the normal enemies. So I don't think that, for me personally, I don't think adding a save system. I mean, maybe a way so that you can at least come off your PlayStation and go back in to your cycle. That makes sense. But I mean, I don't think the runs are ever that long that you really sort of need to do that. And I've heard that when you get to like the other biomes, you can fast travel to them. So when you get to like the next area, you can just fast travel straight there, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the frustration of people who maybe are on a really long run and they want to go off or play something else, but they can't do that without breaking their cycle. So yeah, I definitely get that. But yeah, I don't think having checkpoints or anything like that is necessary, just because it's a roguelite. It shouldn't have things like that. And it already still tracks your progress in a way where where it will know when you've done something really important and sort of not make you have to do all that again. So I think in that respect, it's fine. I think, yeah, like you were saying, it just needs to explain itself a little bit better. It needs to have a better upgrade system, a better progression system in general. I think that's what is lacking. But yeah, and to sort of go back onto the like platforming, I think it reminds me a lot like Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man games, where when it's all in flight, when everything's going fast, it's great. But as soon as you're trying to do a more slower, just movement-based thing, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't they just haven't really focused on those slower moments, except for the first-person moments. Obviously, they're a little bit they're obviously fine, but even then they're quite irritating because you can't fully look up or fully look down. So
right,
I even found those were a little bit not the best as well. But yeah, I mean, they're just some of the things that are little niggly things. The game itself plays really well. It looks great. It sounds amazing, and feels really nice to play. It does just have some teething issues, which I think are to be expected with Housemarque making their first foray into such a complicated and big and sort of technically different game to what they normally make. But I mean, you've got to remember that they make arcade bullet hell games. So if you look at Resogun, for example, in Resogun, every time you die, you start again. I know it's not exactly the same, but the only thing you get from each of your Resogun runs is you're just getting better at the game. So I don't know if that's the kind of thing they're going for, and that will be much harder for people to realize because it's not like visually trackable. The fact you're just getting better, you're learning the enemy's movements, you're getting better with the weapons and everything like that. So maybe it's there just seems to be a bit of a disconnect in how it communicates to the player that you're improving and you're getting stronger, which I think could maybe be done a bit better.
No, I think you're exactly right there. Where, and I kind of understood that they're going for this more arcadey feel, of course, with that roguelike setting. And so I understand going in that there's going to be these this style of gameplay. And I think when you are moving around, they're really nailing that sense of speed and action, and it's a blast to play when all that stuff is working. have the same feelings with some of the platforming when you're slowing down. But even all this, like, I'm still willing to give them that wiggle room, because this is a huge game for them to, come out with. There's the spotlights on them, and their stuff before is, these kind of smaller experiences that are still amazing. But this is their first crack at like this, single player style of gameplay with the story involved in this open world setting, or this, huge world setting. And then still adding their arcadey kind of bits to it, which I think is awesome. I think for overall, they nail it. It's just, these little bits that I would love to see tweaked, but it's still not enough to turn me off at all. I think it runs amazingly well on PS5. It looks beautiful. How are you feeling about the actual like next gen haptic feedback stuff and the audio stuff?
Yeah, it feels great. The DualSense is used really well with it. The vibrations are so like subtle but really effective as well. It looks amazing. I've been thinking about maybe turning the brightness up, just because it is so dark in that first place. I do find myself thinking, I can step off of here, and then I just end up falling. It looks great. I can't wait to get to the other biomes where different color palettes, and we might be able to see the ray tracing better used and everything like that. It looks and plays really nicely. I think the soundtrack is really, really great as well. Really uneasy and sort of unsettling. It definitely reminds me of like the Alien or like Prometheus soundtrack, which they definitely seem to have taken some inspiration from. I think it definitely is showcasing what these machines can do. I'm not sure. I think particle wise, it definitely looks next gen, and the way obviously it's very free flowing, but I haven't seen a huge amount yet to really separate it from last gen. Obviously there's lots that this game wouldn't be able to run the way it does on PS4, but I'm still yet to see, like you've got with Ratchet and Clank. That in no way would be able to on last gen.
Right.
I've got no quarrels with how it looks and how it runs or anything like that.
Yeah, your boy Turdman95 was chiming in on the chat saying he's hoping to get this game. He's bookmarking a lot of alerts for the PS5. Seems like it's still tough to get in the UK. Well, really around the world for sure. Even though they're selling a bunch somehow, nobody really has one. But there's a lot of attention on this game, as far as this feels like the first big next gen game on PS5. Yeah, we had Spider-Man, we had Demon Souls, but after that initial launch, like this feels like the first big title to release with. So I think there's a lot of attention on this. I'm excited to see, the reception overall. Hopefully Housemarque is able to, upgrade and capitalize on this success. I think they're, I guess it's too early to see the sales yet, but I wonder how this thing's going to sell. I think there's a lot of hype for it, a lot of attention. I'm overall super positive. I wouldn't mind the little tweaks there, but even if they don't, I guess I just got to get good and got to, keep working at it. Although there's this conversation that floats around in my head about difficulty and adjusting that difficulty in games. So with a game like this, does it really hurt the developer to add modifying stuff? Like there is accessibility options. There's some limited options in the menu I was looking at. So they're willing to adjust those sliders for people to actually play the game when it comes to color stuff, different accessibility issues. But is it also a crazy step to let people adjust either how powerful your weapons attack with, or how much damage you take, if not the save thing? Is it that crazy to ask for these kind of things? Because does if you do that, if you add these difficulty sliders or options, does that hurt somebody else's playthrough? It's like, it's just kind of my own isolated playthrough. I want to adjust it so I have a bit more fun, but it's still challenging. Is that really hurting anyone else at the end of the day? I wouldn't mind stuff like that. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask. Does that mean that they're compromising on their artistic vision if they offer those, difficulty adjustments?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a hard one, because people should be able to play, any game they want to. But then again, I think with games like this, I think the particular difficulty is a big part of why it's so good. I'm still yet to really know if this is the case with Returnal, just because I haven't got far enough. But if you're to look at like Dark Souls or Sekiro, sometimes the best parts of these games are the fact that they are so hard. Because without them being so hard, you wouldn't get that satisfaction of learning the combat system, or unlocking these shortcuts so you don't have to do this really difficult route to get to this place again. If you could just play these games on easy, then there just wouldn't really be much, there'd be no satisfaction of unlocking these shortcuts. There'd be no satisfaction of beating these bosses or anything like that. And I think a lot of these games do rely on that sort of sense of progression through something that is hard to that's a big part of why they are so good. And I think some, maybe when they're making these games, they might think, well, if we give the player this choice, then loads of people will play it on this other setting that we haven't really designed the game around, and that might give them a negative experience in the game, because they might think, well, there's nothing to this game. It's just you just walk through and kill everything. There's nothing to it. So yeah, I don't really. I can see both sides, but I think that frustrating first few hours with a game, that is just what it's like for everybody, and you just have to get past that and just learn, the game and how to play it and everything like that. And I think if you can't get past those first few hours because it's too frustrating, then that's fair enough. But if you do just stick with it, that's where the real fun and satisfaction of these kind of games comes from.
Yeah, I hear that, but at the same time, I don't see the harm in it at the end of the day, because like the gameplay is so satisfying. Where if you do have a baby mode, like I'm still gonna have fun with it, I'm still gonna enjoy it. But I understand that maybe there's game breaking aspects of reducing the difficulty, and you don't have that payoff. I do understand that, but at the same time, like I don't think it really hurts anybody. You have my money. I'm not asking for like the game code or anything like that. I'm just asking to maybe let me have a bit more fun with it according to my playstyle preference. But of course, yeah, if I keep going, I'll get better at it. And it's different situation compared to like Demon Souls. There's been a lot of that conversation with this game in Demon Souls where you just have to get good at it. I was terrible at Demon Souls. I really, really sucked. And this one, I can, even though it's hard, I can see the carrot on the stick, and I'm progressing. I'm having fun, and I'm actually unlocking stuff. I'm dying a lot, but that's fine. So I'm having a way, more enjoyable time with this game. But yeah, it's just, I wouldn't mind, at the end of the day, I wouldn't mind some difficulty sliders. I don't think it really hurts anything, but I guess it's just it's a conversation we're always going to have with these games, especially like as we go forward, where the idea of accessibility comes into play. It's like, why not let people kind of adjust as they want to? But I also understand not compromising on that, your overall message and what you want to, create with this gameplay and with the feeling of actually, succeeding on something and finishing a boss and all that. So I get it. I'm mixed, but I'm not, even though I'm kind of chiming in on that, perspective, I'm still having fun with it, and I'm not going to quit or anything like that. It's just at the same time, wouldn't mind a little bit. I think of like Control. When I was playing Control, after about 6 or 8 months, there was an update where they allowed you to adjust how powerful your moves were, how much damage you took, how long it took for your weapons to regenerate the ammo. So they gave you that options, and I was still having a blast playing it. So I don't, that's my key, inspiration, where it's like, I don't know if you compromise on anything by adding that stuff where it's totally optional. If you want to do that, you can. And if you don't, you can play it as God intended, as Housemarque intended. There's also games like, Last of Us 2 or, Last of Us 1 as well, or Fallout. They have those extra uber hard modes that let you, and they often have a little message saying, hey, you can play this, but it's brutally hard, go for it. So they often will add that stuff, but why is it then crazy to add something that's, on the easier side? So I don't know. I'm torn on it, but it's still not enough to sway me at all from playing this game. Alrighty, Callum Monroe. So you still hear me? See me okay? The 5G's coming in?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, all coming through.
Gotcha. So yeah, we'll end some Returnal talk there. It'll be interesting to see after a week with this game, how I feel about it. So I'm about 3 hours in, so it's pretty early to tell, but I am having a blast playing it.